Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This from our guy sounds like he's probably about mid-30s, and he's going to share his story about events that happened over a decade ago when he was in his early 20s, and how he learned the hard way not to date gals with mental issues. In particular, gals that are on medication because of those issues, and do not date former dancers with those mental issues. And he's going to go through the story here of what he learned about that whole thing and all that with this gal that he named Amber, who he got into a relationship with and all that. And how there were tons of red flags, and he ignored them because she was cool and fun to hang out with, and not to mention good looking. And this is only going to back up with a lot of things I tell you about, guys. So it'll be a good one here to be a refresher. And for you guys that like crazy stories about crazy gals, you'll enjoy this because she definitely has a screw loose. So it starts off, he says, hey SSM, it was over a decade ago when I met Amber. He says, her name is actually Amber, plus another stereotypical white trash name, but we'll stick with Amber for privacy reasons. Of course, her name is Amber. And he says, I guess she has another name. I'm guessing Amber Lynn. Anything usually with Lynn can pretty much be the, as he described, white trash. It started with us talking on MySpace, but never meeting in person. MySpace, we're going way back than a decade. Then about 6 months later, my friend/roommate met her on the same site and started to date her. That's when I started to see how crazy she really was. She was a heavy drinking party gal who loved to start scream matches with our other roommate's girlfriend. She was cool to hang out with because she acted like one of the guys. This masculine energy combined with the anger and heavy drinking made me not feel very attracted to her right away. After a couple months, my friend and her broke up and things were calm for a while. So, observing all this should tell him, okay, she drinks a lot, screaming matches with this guy's girlfriend, drama. Not someone I want to hang out with, let alone be in a relationship with. But here's the deal. She's got a hot body. And then there's other things he's going to find out about her that's going to make him, ignore these very obvious red flags. And there's a reason that his buddy and her broke up. But a young guy who does all his listening to his other brain down there ignores those things. Once a day, she contacted me to get my professional opinion on a couple of houses that she was renovating to sell for a profit. I was in real estate sales at the time, and she was a partner in a house flipping business. I came by, and then we hung out afterwards one by one. At the time, I smoked weed, and so did she. It was like hanging out with one of the boys, and since I wasn't attracted to her, I figured it'd be fine to be friends with her. Friends with the girl that was the drama queen, scream matches with your buddy's girlfriend, and then dated your other buddy. First of all, bros before the you-know-what, and also, obviously they broke up for a reason. But there's more to this. Perhaps my ignorance started here. She was very attractive physically. Now we're getting somewhere. I should have known I would grow to enjoy her personality if I kept hanging out with her. Sure enough, she started showing her feminine side. We had real discussions about life, love, business, sex, politics, etc. After a while, the weekly visits turned into me coming by for a quick smoke and hang whenever I was in the area, which was 4 to 7 times a week. You were spending 4 to 7 times a week hanging out with this girl? If you're spending 4 to 7 times a week with a girl, you better be hooking up with her. Otherwise, there's no reason to be hanging out with another chick. And he said that you're starting to like her personality. Well, she was obviously smoking, so I'm assuming that calmed her down, made her more relaxed and pleasant to be around. But when she wasn't smoking, what was she like? It was after about 6 months of this when I learned that she used to be a, wait for it guys, stripper. I think that's when I started to think of her as being sexually attractive, which deserves a big smack. Yeah, smack. Mental issues, drama with the exes, screaming matches. And oh yes, used to be a dancer, but now, between her body looking good and that she was a stripper and you're going to associate that with sex, never mind all those other things that are clearly red flags. When a guy thinks of strippers, he automatically thinks about sex, like Pavlov's dog hearing a bell ring. I was in my early 20s and my little brain was more powerful than my big brain. Well, guess what? There are guys in their 80s and their little brain's more powerful than their big brain. I was still only thinking of her as a friend, and I was dating / seeing other women the whole time. Then about 3 months after that, I traveled home for Thanksgiving in another state, and I was sitting around the dinner table, and I came to a realization. Oh shit, I miss Amber. I think I have a crush on her. Smack! She is not someone to have a crush on, let alone marriage material. You know, in some cases you'd say, okay, she's hookup material and leave it at that, but given what she's shown you of her mental issues, even then, don't put your D in crazy. And he's going to learn not to put your D in crazy. I was very conflicted, mostly because she was my friend's ex. Well, yeah, you should be. Even though they were not too serious and didn't go all the way, it felt like I betrayed him. Before I even talked to her, I sat with my friend and told him what was going on. He didn't seem affected at all. It had been almost a year since they broke up. I was shocked and still doubtful that he didn't mind, but he told me I should talk to her about it. Now comes the hard part, escaping the friend zone. I'm glad you talked to your bro. Your bro should have said, dude, she's freaking nuts. What are you doing with her? But at least you said something to your bro. But yes, now you're in the friend zone. But here's the thing. It's not like you were chasing after her before. You hung out with her and you were smoking and all that stuff. You were choosing to be her buddy. You weren't pursuing her. But now you're starting to be attracted to her when you're learning more things about her. I won't go too deep into detail here, but it was about 4 to 5 months of back and forth before we did anything physical. For guys out there looking to escape the friend zone, I'll tell you what pushed us into the end zone. One word: indifference. It is the opposite of love. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. I decided I was going to move back to my home state, 4 hours away, and I started acting like she wasn't important to me. That got her so worked up, she ended up moving with me to my hometown after a few months of dating. Yes, that is the key, guys. Indifference. You don't give a shit either way. Notice the guys that are the most successful with women, aside from the fact that they got things going on in their lives, and they're successful, they got some status, or they got nothing going on in their lives, and no job, living in their mom's freaking basement, but they don't give a shit. The key is indifference. You don't care whether she reaches out to you, or you see her, or you do see her, great, no big deal. That's the key. Because most guys are not indifferent. Most guys are chasing after the girl with their tongues hanging out, begging for attention, That turns them off. They like the guys that they have to work to get. And since she is a former dancer and good body and obviously has no problem getting guys, the guys that are indifferent to her, she's drawn to them. Like, why are they chasing after me? Well, I have to want him now. Once we moved in together, smack, you moved in and got in a relationship with this nut job, and you're going to see. She's a nut job. Once we moved in together, she stopped taking her prescribed SSRI pills, aka head medication. Oh boy, I'm sure that was fun. I didn't know at the time that this can cause severe side effects, including delusions and rage. She thought I was pleasuring myself whenever I was in the bathroom or on my computer, and would start arguments about things she thought I said, but I didn't say anything of the sort. That was bad enough. But one day during an argument, I told her to stop interrupting me. Didn't your mom teach you any manners? She got up and slapped me across the face. Dude, as if there weren't any other good reasons to A, not get in a relationship, let alone reason to break up with her, that was it. Second she strikes you, it's done. It's over with. The same thing would go for a woman if a dude hit her. Okay? You're out of your mind to stay with someone like this. And I don't care if she's hot. I don't care if she didn't mean it because of her being off her meds. Bullshit. It's not your problem. Problem is, this guy slipped into letting the little brain take control because she was hot. And also, there's probably a little bit of white knight in there somewhere. I walked away to another room, and she followed me screaming the whole time. I was cold and silent, and when she took a breath, I told her that if she ever raised her hand on me again, it would be over between us. No, dude, it should have been over right then and there. You think she's going to stop? Well, we'll see. Sure enough, the rage came back a week later. Shocker. This time it was punching, kicking, and slapping. Luckily, she hit like a girl, so only my ego was hurt. I left the condo right away. It was around midnight. I walked around the complex for about 45 minutes to calm down. And I returned to tell her to pack up her stuff, and she's leaving right now. Good. Kick her ass out. She didn't have a car, so I packed up as much as I could into my Honda Civic. We left around 2 o'clock in the morning, and I drove to the nearest major city to go to the bus station. She was pissed. I wasn't going to drive her the whole 4 hours. After all that, no. I say get the hell out. You can have somebody pick your ass up. I thought she was going to try to attack me again, but then she pointed out that they wouldn't let her dog on the bus. And out of love for the dog, I decided to drive through the night, fueled by silent rage and feelings of betrayal. Not a word was said between us the entire rest of the trip. Yeah, I'd care more about the dog than her. I'd care about what she would do to the dog when she has one of her episodes of rage and all that. We arrived at her original home around sunrise. We unloaded her stuff, and I only said a few words. Contact me when you get a truck for your furniture and to get your cats. She has cats staying with you at your place? Poor things. And now she's still not out of your life because her cats are back at your place. I visited a local park for a walk in the woods. Then my old roommate home to tell them what was going on. I started to make my way back home before lunchtime. I noticed in the car's cup holder a big cup of water I bought, and she had picked dozens of her eyebrow hairs from her head and put them in the cup. She's plucking her eyebrows and putting it in your cup for you to drink. Hot crazy scale. I'm glad I stopped drinking it from early on the trip down. Very strange, but that was the tip of the iceberg. Oh, there's more? When I arrived back at my condo, I discovered that she poured Red Bull and Jägermeister all over my TV, Xbox, and laptop. Only the laptop was unrecoverable, though, and all my work clothes were shredded with scissors. Red Bull and Jägermeister on your TV, Xbox, and laptop, and she cut up all your work clothes, I'm assuming suits, nice clothes, with scissors. Hot crazy scale. This is what you get for ignoring the obvious. From early on, you saw she was nuts, but because she was hot, and you thought she was so cool, one of the guys, because when she was smoking weed, and that would calm down even the nut jobs, boozing with you, goes off for medication, and off we go. She's a wacko. You didn't deserve that behavior, but you didn't help yourself. There were signs. Guys, I don't care how hot she is, do not let her looks make you lose all sense of common sense and reality. Do not put your D in crazy. Oh, we're not done yet. She came by a few weeks later to get her cats and furniture. I would be, I can't believe at this point her furniture was still there. I'd have the Salvation Army pick that furniture up. Those cats, I think I'd be having those cats go to a nice home, not be with her. I made her sleep on the couch, even though she wanted to try to make up and go to bed with me. Her dog did end up at the foot of my bed, and I didn't mind, although she was jealous. Why is she staying with you? Well, after all that, why is she staying with you? Here's your stuff. Get out. She can go stay at Motel 6 down the road. She thought what she did to me was no big deal. The delusions continued, and she denied doing most of those things that she did. She had no idea that she hurt me more than I thought was possible. She was a great friend who I fell in love with, and she destroyed that love like it was nothing. Either she truly didn't remember because she's mental, or she could use the mental card to say she didn't remember doing those things, but she really did remember. You don't know. Either way, you don't need that shit in your life. The next 10 years was my great RP journey through the desert of despair towards contentment and self-awareness. I adopted a mindset of abundance, not scarcity, and I gradually abandoned the idea of a relationship with a Western woman. Good idea. I wish your channel existed back then, but eventually I found other channels that helped me go my own way and gain a deep understanding of the gals. I decided to find a traditional woman in the Philippines, and armed with RP knowledge, I patiently looked for one without red flags. Well, newsflash, they all have red flags. There's just the degree and amount of red flags there. Don't go thinking because you met some chick in the Philippines that they're dying to get an American to come take them out of there and bring them back here to the States. But I wish you well. I've now been married for 3 years to a great woman. I'm continuously looking for red flags to call out and maintain the psychological frame in the marriage. I no longer smoke weed. I'm living my dream life of farming and building a family. Well, great, man. It took you 10 years to become RP, whatever you want to call it. an RP warrior or whatever and gain all this knowledge. Good for you. I'm glad you went elsewhere outside the States to places where feminism hasn't, sunken its ugly teeth into. But just be careful. I'm glad you're happy. Just be careful, bro. Remember everything you learned here. Mind what you've learned. That's what Yoda said to Luke. I hope some men out there will learn from my mistakes. Don't date current strippers or even ex-strippers. Same rule applies to OnlyFans girls too. Even with low body count, their attitude is often too entitled and controlling. Avoid the gals on head medications or coming off them too. Stay away from drugs, even booze and weed. Best case scenario, they help you from feeling bored, and it's when you're bored that you should be improving yourself and getting on your grind. Keep smacking some sensitive men. You do good work. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you, bro, for sending your story, and I will certainly continue smacking men, and you got some for your moronic ways back then. But you know what? You were in your 20s. You didn't know any better. You did what so many other guys did. Most guys would have done what you've done. Let's be honest here. But now your story guys will listen to your story all over the world. And now they'll have another lesson. Why not to get involved with the gals that definitely have mental issues or on medication and all that. And sure, some could say it's not these girls' fault that they have to be on the medication and all that. And that could be the case. But that's not your problem. You don't need to be the hero or the white knight because, let me tell you, look at the crap he dealt with, right? Is it worth it? No, not at all. And I do wish him well. I wish him well with his new wife from the Philippines, and that he's happy. And yes, stay off the booze and the drugs and all that. Focus on your purpose, improving yourself, because the self-improvement doesn't end, guys. It doesn't end when you're 45. It doesn't end when you're 55 or 85. You keep on self-improving. Notice the guys that have purpose in life, that really have a reason to get up every day and something to improve upon or goal. They tend to live a lot longer as long as, no health things come along, and happier lives than those that just have nothing going on. They just wither away and die. It's like a lot of guys when they retire, they're dead not much long after they retire because they got nothing else to do, nothing to look forward to. But most people in this world aren't purpose-driven. Most people don't live, they exist. Let's be honest here. So yes, there's nothing wrong with a little booze on occasion. I mean, shit, I had a glass of wine the other day. I was at a nice restaurant with some people, some friends. Had a glass of wine, just one glass, and I hardly ever drink. A beer here, a glass of wine there, that's it. But most of the time, I'm sober. I certainly don't smoke anything or do any drugs, and I'm always driven on my goals. Every guy should be like that, and you'll feel so much better. But anyhow, guys, stay away from the crazy. I don't care how hot she is. And I know there are guys out there right now that are probably laughing, knowing darn well they hooked up with girls that were nuts because they were hot, and you learned, right? You know this, guys. But for you other guys out there that haven't done that yet, don't do that. And certainly don't get in a relationship with those types. It's not worth it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. And guys, if you've got a great story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it. I definitely will when I get a chance. I'm getting bombarded with emails from great articles, crazy stories, personal stories, and I'm really trying to crank out 3 videos a day between both channels, but that's all I can do. I literally cannot do any more. But keep sending them to me, and I will use them eventually if they're really good. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.